As of this recording, I'm currently 25 years old and I have pretty much bankrupted or outsmarted all of my competition in my local wholesaling market. And what I'm gonna do today is share with you exactly how I make millions of dollars every single year, outsmarting my competition. And sometimes I don't even outspend them. Now, we can even get into virtual wholesaling where I definitely don't outspend my competition, but I usually make more than them because I'm able to put 20% of the effort and get 80% of the results because I know how to leverage opportunities. I know how to leverage things. And not because I'm outspending people, but I'm very, very good at knowing exactly where I should put all my efforts in and get the best results. Because I think there's a lot of fat in wholesaling real estate. And what I want to do today is show you exactly the 7 things I do in my local market that you can do in your virtual market or in any type of wholesaling real estate so you can have success. Now, the first thing I do, and probably the one that we're just going to get out of the way because I think it's the most obvious one, is I kind of call it burning the ground, or some people call it scorching the ground. And what this means is when I'm talking to a seller, more specifically my acquisitions team, we make sure to destroy all of our competition if they have a conversation with them. Now, what I more specifically mean is when I'm talking to a seller, or our team's talking to a seller, there is more than an 80% chance I personally own a rental property, like at least within 0.1 or 0.2 miles of the subject property. And so what we always make sure to do is say, hey, we actually own a rental over there, on the next street over. You're on 5th Street, we actually have one on 7th Street. And the way we do this is we don't do it to brag, we don't do it to badmouth other people. I think this is the first part that you should understand is you don't badmouth your competition, especially in wholesaling real estate. Maybe if someone mentions it, you don't have to say they're the greatest person in the world, but you can just casually mention that, yeah, they buy, maybe you can go with them, but are they buying properties too? Do they own a lot of rental properties also? Because I don't know if they own rentals or not. I've never heard of them, but I'm assuming they own rentals. Why don't you ask them what address of a property nearby that they own? Now, it's really important that you do this if you have rental properties. Because your competition, if it's a 16-year-old wholesaler, and I'm going to show you how to reverse it too, maybe they don't own rentals and you can use that to your advantage. On top of that too, I mentioned, well, does that person own real estate you're talking to that give you a higher offer? Why don't you ask them 5 addresses of properties they own? Because I heard a lot of people do lie in this industry. And I know it doesn't sound crazy, but they're going to ask the 16-year-old how many properties they own. And if they cannot produce deeds or HUDs or anything like that, you can win on the competition. Now, you might be asking like, okay, well, what if I am 16? Well, this is important. You should use your buyer as leverage. I'm actually giving the blueprint to my competition right now, but use your cash buyer as leverage. Say, hey, me and my partner together, the cash buyer, own 15 rentals in the area. That's the only way around it. We can kind of get crazy on there. Another thing we do to, quote, burn the ground is we offer a $5,000 non-refundable EMD deposit. Now, I'm a multimillionaire. I have a lot of money, and yes, okay, I'll be honest with you. Me and Rick, we got a lot of money. And the cool part about this is I can just throw $5,000 on EMDs all day because I have a really good title company and I don't go above my inspection periods. And I can just throw $5,000 earnest money deposit. What I do, which I know is a jerk move, I'm just talking about Zach Ginn, for me to have the best advantage possible is I go tell the seller, wait, this other guy didn't offer you a $5,000 deposit? Like, if he has money, he should be able to have that. Now, I know it's a jerk move. Very, very few wholesalers can do this, and especially in virtual wholesaling, probably not unless they have a really good title company. But one thing I tell you is doing that is the best move if you have the money. Now, I'm not telling you should be doing this, but I'm telling you it's very difficult for your competition to overcompensate that, and not much of your competition can do that. So I'm just giving you advice. This is what I personally do, and it works really good for me. Number 2, and stuff you could start doing right, go to the property fast. I think speed's probably the most underrated tool we have in wholesaling, especially when you're locally wholesaling, right? When someone says, hey, property I'm looking to sell, well, can I come by later today to go see it? I'm telling you, you have to strike while the kettle's hot. I know it's an old man saying, but it does ring true in wholesaling. Usually the first person gets the deal or the last person gets the deal. You do not want to be someone in between. One thing we always avoid doing is outbidding people and all these. I'm not here for a bidding war. The seller has a price. I usually will counter it with a lower price and we try to meet in the middle. Go to wholesaling.com how to do that. But it's really important that you go to the property the quickest you can. And you can't assume you're the last wholesaler. So you just got to be the first one there. And of course, conditioning the seller for a yes or no decision. That is the best way to get a deal done. Now, number 3 here, and probably one of my favorite ones, is just market to lists that nobody else is doing. I know that's a crazy revolutionary concept, but just go and market to the list that other wholesalers aren't doing. So one example I always give here is the government list. And I know I'm a broken record, but I'm gonna keep screaming from the rooftops here. Your competition is most likely not putting a sticky note on a pre-foreclosure. Competition is probably not producing 100 drawing for dollars leads a week. And the thing is, if you wanna beat them, you just gotta do what they're not willing to do. And this happens in weightlifting and training and all these things. Like if you just work more than the average person, you probably get better results. And don't use genetics and all these things as an excuse. If you outwork someone, you can usually beat them. And this has been proven time and time again. So if you do not have a money advantage, do a list that the average person can't do. So for example, my team is not door knocking pre-foreclosures every single one. We are very specific on niche lists, but we do not have massive door knocking operations. We do a lot more direct mail. So one thing you can do if you're in my market is just door knock pre-foreclosures. Because you just get one person out of 20 or 30 and you're gonna get a deal, and my team's not doing that because we're doing bigger things. Like go do that, especially my virtual wholesaling rate. Maybe I'm virtually wholesaling in your market, let's like Detroit, Michigan. I don't have a door knocking team in Detroit. So if you're willing to do that, which is not fun, trust me, I get it, you're gonna have a good advantage, and it's definitely something that you are gonna start doing deals with. So I highly recommend you start doing this. On top of that too, digital bandit signs. I actually have my free digital bandit sign academy in my free course we just released. It's also in freewholesaling.com. Make sure you go there and check it out. Top of that too, go in your car, drive for dollars. I'm promising you this. This is how you get deals. On top of this too, something that I do that I just crush my competition with is I just triple tap. I use my triple tap system on my leads. And for the vast majority of people, they're not doing this. And what I mean by this, you don't have to pay for X Leads to go do this, right? X Leads doesn't make it easier. It's the best software. Everyone knows this. But you don't need to pay for X Leads to start doing a triple tap system. All you got to do is just hit the lead 3 times, most likely with a call, text, and a voicemail. You can do whatever one. You can put a sticky note, a call, then a text, right? Whatever you personally want. You can hit them with an email, right? But whatever 3 style wholesaling system you can do, that is going to land you wholesaling deals. Number 5, I personally give offers on my deals. And what I mean by this is we do something called the rapid offer system. Now, what the rapid offer system is through calling, texting, emailing, and especially on direct mail, we give an offer around 81, 82, or 83% of the ARV. This is just a rapid offer that we give out. And of course, it's subject to a property inspection review, but it's something that gives us an unfair advantage in wholesaling. Now, the point of it is just to get calls in, and if the property is perfect condition, we have locked up deals at the ROS price, but for most likely, we gotta go down, and because the property needs a little more work. Now, this is pretty common practice in most businesses, but we mostly do it with the postcards, and the cool part is all ROS postcards go through us, so if our competition deals with it, we actually know, and I got a lot of good insights on it, but we do the ROS postcard like crazy. We teach it at freewholesaling.com. Now, number 6, and probably one of the most obvious ones, is I'm just outspending my local competition. And not like boatloads more. I have my local competition spending 30, 40, 50 grand a month in SEO and PPC and all these things, and that's great. But the cool part is I just hit them on the government list, or we'll put a sticky note on the door and get the same result. And I don't have to spend like 2 or 3x more than them. I spend a little more than the average wholesaler and I get exorbitant results. And all that extra money and time that I can use, I'm not using that spending on employees and all these systems because we get leads and our close rates are insane. So yes, I'm outspending the average wholesaler in my competition, probably not the top ones. I am the top wholesaler in my local market, but I'm not the top spender because I don't need to drop 50, 60, 70 grand a month like all these other guys are doing, because I know how to use government lists and be a lot more niched out in my strategy. Now, this kind of goes to number 7 here, the last part, but this is what I call leveraged marketing, where you're putting 80% of your money, your effort, your systems into only 20% of the areas for wholesaling. Now, this is a theory that I have worked on my entire life in wholesaling, right? But I truly believe that 80% of your wholesaling deals in any given market are only going to be in 20% of the areas. And so knowing this rule, you have to figure out where the 20% is at. Now, the fastest, quickest, and most effective way is just by asking your cash buyers where it's supposed to be and where they're at. But it's personally, up to you on how to do it. I'd probably call your buyer, see where wholesaling deals are being done. Usually takes a year or 2 of experience doing at least 15, 20 deals to figure that out. But I found when I blanketed all the markets, and after doing 100 or 200 deals in a virtual market, I figure out, well, 80% of my deals are in 20% of the areas. Now, if you're in Dallas, Atlanta, like Indiana, it does get a little more skewed, right? But if you go to a specific city, like the city of Garland, right? It's a very niched out part of North Dallas, of like the northern DFW area. 80% of my deals are only in 20% of the area. And I do still blanket all the probates, but that's a secret leverage opportunity where I don't have to be going and spending insane amount of money to get a quarter of the results of my competition. So yeah, maybe you don't have the money right now, but if you can get very, very, very focused on your marketing and where you're marketing to, you can win. There's a reason why the Americans beat the English in the Revolutionary War. It's not because we had more soldiers or because we had more money or we had more weapons. It's because we were a lot more tactical and we had the best general of all time, George Washington. And I'm not saying I'm George Washington, but I'm giving you tactics so you can beat the competition that's bigger, badder, and stronger. And using those efforts into wholesaling, going to land you for success in this business. So if you're ready to destroy your competition and outspend them, outwork them, and hopefully bankrupt them, make sure you use these strategies. Go to my free real estate community and course, freerealestate.com, and I'll see you soon. So Zach Ginn signing out. Have a blessed one.